You're listening to WMNF Tampa, music and news.
It's time for another Wavemakers Live, WMNF's new quarterly speaker series featuring thought-provoking conversations in front of a live audience. Our guest will be William Osceola, an elected leader of the Miccosukee tribe, which has called the Florida Everglades home for centuries. 50 years ago, the Miccosukees helped stop the construction of a giant airport in the heart of the Everglades, a legal battle that led to the creation of the Big Cypress Preserve. Today, the tribe is at the forefront of another legal battle, this time against Alligator Alcatraz, the immigrant concentration camp built in the preserve on the very land where the airport would have gone. Please join us Thursday, November 20th at the Commodore in Ybor City for Miccosukee Unconquered. Doors open at 7 and the discussion starts at 7:30. Go to WMNF.org for details.
Thank you for joining me here on WMNF Radio 88.5 FM. This is a public affairs program called Community Speaks. And I'm your host, Patro Mobili. Food first, food politics, food pantries, and open carry while shopping for food. And also, anti-science bills across the United States. This is Community Speaks. And of course, this is an opportunity to talk to you about all of these issues. You can call me at 813-239-9663, or you can write DJ at WMNF.org, because this is Community Speaks. The U.S. is in a constitutional crisis and an economic dilemma. A Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, Food Safety Net Program goes unfunded. The USDA has a $5 trillion contingency fund for the program, or $5 billion contingency fund, but the regime reversed an earlier plan to use that money to keep SNAP running. Democratic officials argue that the administration could also use a separate fund of about $23 billion. The U.S. District Judge John J. McConnell in Providence, Rhode Island said SNAP must be funded using at least contingency funds, and he asked for an update on progress by today. So we're going to be keeping a lookout for any updates on whether or not this regime will tap into those contingency funds to feed Americans. And of course, up next in the next hour, we're going to get back to the music, but before that, we're going to get another news update from The Scoop, locally produced news right here at WMNF. But in an additional order Saturday, that same judge, Judge McConnell, said that if the government makes full payments, it must do so by the end of today, and if it chooses partial ones, which involve recalculating how much recipients get, those would need to be issued by Wednesday. That does not mean people would necessarily see the payments that quickly, because the process of loading cards can take up to 2 weeks in some circumstances. So we got to be, it's time sensitive to figure out what this regime is going to do today. But in the meantime, you can go to WMNF.org. There are a lot of people who have been lining up at pantries at the beginning of November since the start of this month, when this program, the Safety Net program, and it not being continued right now was announced. People have been lining up at food pantries, of course, since January, the return of this regime back into power. A lot of people have had the rug pulled out from under them, especially if you're a federal worker, and you probably already have been lining up at food pantries in order to respond to the economic crisis that you've been thrown into as a result of the politics of the right in this country. But you can go to WMNF.org. There is a list of local pantries that you can access. Just go right to WMNF.org. It's on our blog spot. Tampa Bay Food Banks step up as SNAP benefits face uncertainty. Just look for that blog post. And I want to give a shout out to all of those here at WMNF who put this list together. But in light of this federal shutdown right now and the threat that it poses to the critical programs like SNAP, which is actually supporting 3 million Floridians, including more than 1 million children. These Tampa Bay food banks are stepping up to meet the growing needs. So go check that out at WMNF.org. And, I like to profile at this point a company, an organization, rather, not a company, but it's an organization called foodfirst.org. It's an Institute for Food and Development Policy. That's the think tank, or they call themselves a think and do tank. And it supports activists, social movements, alliances, and coalitions working for systemic change. That the mission of Food First is to end the injustices that cause hunger. Food First engage in action-oriented research, publications, and projects promoting the tools to understand the global food system and build the local food movement and engage with the global movement for food sovereignty. And I got a message from what I believe is a local Food First member who's an activist. And I just want to share part of that letter with you right now here on Community Speaks, because he's making some very salient points as to what people can do and how we should think through this process. This message from Food First says the critical question we must ask ourselves today is this: how can a nation as wealthy and prosperous as the United States of America contemplate allowing 42 million people to be at risk of hunger because politics is precluding us from providing funding to SNAP recipients to buy food? SNAP and its predecessor, the Food Stamp program, was first implemented in 1961 by President Kennedy and strengthened by President Johnson in 1964 when it was a cornerstone initiative in the War on Poverty campaign. Despite decades of political disagreement and numerous government shutdowns over the past 50 years, never once have SNAP or food stamp recipients missed payments during these periods until now. And we must ask ourselves how we have gone from waging a war on poverty in the 1960s to now risking the well-being of millions by refusing to allocate funding for SNAP. America has long prided itself on being the land of opportunity. If our leaders truly cared, they would find a way to ensure families can eat while they continue to debate the critical issues of our time. And so that's part of the letter that was sent to me by Food First. I sent out publicly, I suppose, by Food First. I would suggest going to foodfirst.org, foodfirst.org, to find out more about what they're doing, what has been done. And there are a lot of black farmers and people of color who have been part of Food First, who have been trying to bring some kind of calmness to the issue, to the politics around the issues of food. Just like a health pandemic threat. Those are not things that I would have expected an advanced country like this country to debate and couldn't agree on the basic facts. So once again, here we are facing a food crisis because of politics, and it doesn't even have to be that way. But in this political climate, it will take a full court press to counter the danger, the madness infecting the governments, especially here in the United States and Florida in particular. This madness is on full power display now with the anti-science bills that are being pushed nationwide. And moreover, the HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is pushing eating more saturated fats. Saturated fats are known to raise the risk of heart attack, stroke, and other types of cardiovascular disease. And for 45 years, the federal dietary guidelines have recommended Americans eat less of them. And so we're seeing the impact some of the dangers of the impact of Robert F. Kennedy being the head of Health and Human Services, we're seeing that madness play itself out right now. And a lot of people have called and asked, what is the White House phone number? Because they wanted to call the White House. I can give you the switchboard number, and that's the number that most activists usually give out and call. That gets you through to the switchboard. It's 202-456-1414. 202-456-1414. That's the White House switchboard number. And there's a similar number, 202-456-1111, if you want to make comments. I don't know how I suppose that's the comments is where you can leave a message. Switchboard, somebody will most likely answer, or maybe they'll use a machine to get you to the office that is relevant to your complaint. But that's the number to call. But right now, you can call me, 813-239-9663. That's the number to call. Maddie stands ready to take your telephone calls if you wish to join me in discussion here on Community Speaks. Of course, we're getting back to the music next hour after we get news update from The Scoop. But I like to hear from you right now, talking about all of these issues that we're finding ourselves having to debate, oftentimes unnecessarily, because we have politics that we have politicians that are not talking to one another right now. And how much longer can that go on when we know there's so many issues at play right now? One of the other issues that's particular to Florida is Publix, the largest employee-owned company in the United States with more than 260,000 associates. Currently operates 1,426 stores in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and Kentucky. Effective November 1st of this year, Publix's stock price decreased from $21.15 per share to $20.40 per share. Publix stock is not publicly traded and is made available for sale only to current Publix associates and members of its board of directors, which is, I believe, why it is considered a employee-owned company. But in Florida, the company says people are allowed to open carry a gun while shopping in Publix. And this policy shift breaks with the company's previous position, where it's respectfully requested that only law enforcement officials openly carry firearms in our stores. Other grocery chains like Winn-Dixie are choosing a different path. They've continued to ban open carry in their Florida stores, demonstrating that businesses can both follow state law and make their own choices to protect public safety. Publix is a private company, has that same right. They've chosen to go in this direction. So as a result, a petition is now circulating at the website change.org, urging Publix to reverse open carry in its stores. And I would suggest going there, reading through the petition to see if it's something you care to sign. But right now, you can call Community Speaks, 813-239-9663. That's the number to call, 813-239-9663. Some people are already writing. You could write me, DJ at WMNF.org, WMNF, DJ at WMNF.org. Emailer has written, wanted to know what I thought of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. trying to make it that you can't buy soda and junk food with SNAP. That may be correct, but it would be in contradiction, because he just said a lot of he wants people to be able to eat saturated fats, and a lot of processed food is made with saturated fats. So again, another big, huge contradiction from someone who's supposed to be a responsible arbiter of our nation's health when it comes to health and human services. So we're seeing, in addition to all of that, a lot of the behavior of where there's not going to be any oversight of things that were decided, that was designed to protect consumer protections. Another emailer is writing that he's upset about consumer protections being down the tub. And that's true. This deregulation move that conservatives and people who are just extreme capitalists have been calling for, that was the danger of that. You know, you don't want to deregulate because people will backslide on making certain that products are safe, that food is safe to eat, and if consumer protections are not being tracked and it's not being advanced and promulgated legally in this country, then we're going to see more products hurt citizens in this world. And we don't want to continue to be a part of that in our name. So that's the reason why, I talk about the activists at places like Food First, because these are the issues they've been researching for years. And we have people in power that just wants to do away with all the knowledge that we have, that wants to overlook it, call people who are making certain that we make certain things are regulated, companies are regulated, that they want to undo all of that and call that progress. No, these are people who want to take this country and this world backwards. And so we're not going to just sit down and take it. A lot of people have been really facing facts that they didn't face before. Since this regime has come into power, people have been forced to see the world differently. And we have basically a regime leader that's unhinged. He changes his mind. He makes threats out of the blue because he wants to distract people. And we're seeing some of that play out right now. This threat against Nigeria, man, he doesn't want that smoke. You don't want to go and get the United States, especially ground or even air troops, strafing over Nigeria, shooting at whoever, because you want to be theatrical and play war games for your right-wing base, for your white Christian nationalist base. And so you've fallen for this propaganda that Christians in Nigeria are being killed, when, that's in actuality, Boko Haram and the Islamic jihadists are attacking everybody, not just Christians. They're attacking everybody. People, especially in the continent of Africa, people who believe in more than one God constantly come under attack from the Islamists. And so Christians and non-Islamists alike are being attacked. So you can't you want to go and protect your precious Christians in Nigeria as a pretext to go and start shooting in Nigeria so you can show off, so you can have some theatrics. That there's going to be fallout from that kind of behavior. We have to rein this regime in at some point. And if we can't do it over food, we couldn't do it over COVID. If we can't do it over food, I guess we did kind of do it over COVID, because that's what made his first regime go down in flames. And then he got reelected somehow by some rigging of the last election. He's able to come in. Maybe it was because of mind control, as I said yesterday, the fact that attempt on his life really made people close their minds to the words and the dangers of his policies, knowing that he was going to attempt tariffs and knowing that he was going to rail against certain powerless communities, and we were going to have to really keep a real lasso on this regime. That's more true now than ever before. So we're going to continue to talk about all of these issues, but right now I'm going to talk to you. 813-239-9663 is the number to call. I'm trying to keep focused on the food and especially some of the issues that we're seeing play out in this regime because of the dangers that they represent. And it's just incredible that we are not seeing more response from people about what is happening in their name. And we've seen a lot of this before. And it doesn't help to call and parrot the same propaganda that we've been hearing from these people. What we need to do is talk about what project we're going to engage in terms of pushing back. And because the handwriting's on the wall for everybody to see. We see what we're dealing with, but do we care to respond to it and bring some intelligence back into this country's body politics? We're not seeing, what we're seeing is people trying to give voice and credence to this administration. And so we're going to continue to see this politics play itself out. But one of the things that has been distressing, especially, is the fear that I see around public health and around food. The food politics that we're seeing play out right now, I suppose, had to play itself out so that the theatrics that this regime is engaging in can finally be can be shown for what it is, and that is wasteful, useless politics. And it is causing a sort of degree of division in this country, and it causes people to shut down debate, and that's not good for us, for a civilian population that sees what a powerful regime can do. And when we see that it's doing nothing to stop and put a check on an executive that is out of control, something's wrong. And I think it's because people feel powerless right now. But we got to get back. We got to get back to the telephone lines. But we got to talk about what people's power really is. There is always people power. And we just got to stop the fear and the fear mongering, allowing these people to continue to fear monger. But we're going to go to the phone lines, see what you have to say. 813-239-9663 is the number to call. We'll go and talk to Russell in Tampa. Thank you for calling, Russell. You say what?
The election was rigged in 2024?
That's what you heard? I believe that there was
the election was rigged. Those are your words.
Oh yeah, because what happened in Florida, because of the depressing the vote, the fact that the population shifts is being used right now, is being rigged right now with the rewriting of these laws, especially in places like Texas, to redistrict. So that redistricting was going on at that time, carving out districts that disempowered certain groups of people by race. So, Russell, I know that's what you want to hear, that I said the election was rigged in 2024. That's what I really mean, as opposed to what Trump was saying in 2020, that it was rigged with no proof.
So you deny that you're an election denier. That's funny.
What are you talking about, Russell? I'm an election denier? Because I said that redistricting,
the legitimacy of the 2020.
Yeah, because of the redistricting. That's the problem. Redistricting is a problem, Russell. You have to start facing facts in this country. I didn't say that they didn't count votes and all of that, which is what dear leader was saying when he lost the election in 2020. So when I said rigged in 2024, I know that's a loaded word in politics today. But that's what happened, especially here in Florida. We're seeing that play itself out now with the redistricting under the guise that there was a population shift in Florida. And so that's a reason to break the rules and redistrict these districts in Florida that the governor, and it was already a breaking of the rules by letting the governor, not the legislature, draw the last districting map. And so, yeah, we got to start facing facts. There are people playing with this so-called democracy, and that's by design. We've talked about this on many occasions, but Russell, do you care about anything else I said when it comes to the food crisis in this country? I suppose now you just want to call and use these buzzwords like election denier. That's what the whole Republican Party has been and is. We're going to go back to the telephone line and see what DeAndre in Plant City has to offer. But you can call me, 813-239-9663. 813-239-9663. There's so many other threats to this economy as we speak. DeAndre, you have something that you want to talk about here when it comes to discriminatory practices. Thank you for calling, DeAndre, from Plant City.
Yeah, thank you, man. I was thinking about Eric when he was talking about all that because, I mean, Florida and a bunch of other red states pulled out of the election. I forget what it actually says. The election reporting. Anyway, yeah, no. Like all the red states pulled out of that. Now we can't track who is voting and if they're maybe voting cross state or a handful of times, especially if there's somebody the controlling party likes, But anyway, so yeah, man. I was just kind of like going through some things, and I'm watching family and friends kind of struggle, and I'm recalling like living in I'm going to call them the ghetto. I'm sorry. They're the ghettos. They were ghettos that people were herded into, and when families were being, studied for compliance, it was a rough thing because poverty. I mean, like it was everybody was already dealing with poverty wages, and then you couldn't come together to persevere. And it's very weird, Christo sexist sort of mentality that was going on in a lot of those programs. But what I found interesting recently is how, these different companies are doing some of the same thing, particularly with insurance and like where you rent, particularly renter's insurance and the car insurance. And they tack on unnecessary fees for folks who are covered on their own, but happen to reside together, which is our current family circumstance right now. It's not bad, but, And so I just want to kind of like point that out to folks that where they were practicing on, people, marginalized people, they're bringing it to commerce. It's like they're using it in business. And they could as well, give people terrible service because they don't like them for whatever reason, and then support others that they maybe in their communities or they appreciate it as opposed to just being blind in service. This is what companies can do in Florida now and across the country.
Yeah,
and I hope people understand that a lot of folks who have struggled for the longest time trying to socialize and be cogent and all this sort of thing. It was a struggle for a reason, and now it's proliferated. It's business.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there and let people hopefully kind of put something out there worth considering, given some of the roots of or threads in our issues. But anyway, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, man. I
appreciate your call. Thank you, DeAndre. And these practices, is spiking because they can. It's really because they can. And once you set precedent, if government can do it, which usually is supposed to be the watchdog for how companies behave and how they treat employees, these people don't care, but if companies see that they don't care, then company behavior and discriminatory practices can and will increase these mystery charges, extra costs that are tacked on to people without explanation. If governments don't regulate it, then, they can just get away with this kind of behavior. And mystery fees, these kinds of things can be a real threat to households' bottom line. I've been saying that we're going to keep a watch on how this regime responds to the judges when it comes to the SNAP rulings. So apparently the regime says that SNAP will be partially funded after these judges ruled. That means that grocery aid will resume for 1 in 8 Americans, though it has been delayed for millions already, and the amount beneficiaries receive will be reduced because it's a partial payment. It's going to only be partially funded. The SNAP food program, after these pair of judges' rulings, required the payments to continue. 813-239-9663. This is Community Speaks. 813-239-9663 is the number to call. I'm going to go to Waimama, see what Vivian has to say. Thank you for calling Community Speaks, Vivian. You say what?
Hey, just a quick comment on the redistricting issue. I always wonder if those Republicans are so justified and so convinced and so make America great again, why do they have to cheat in order to stay in office?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mystery to me. Like, you guys are the ones who got it right. Well, then why are you cheating? Why can't you just rely on the populace to reelect you if you're all that?
If you're all that, right? Because clearly they can't defend a lot of what they're doing.
Well, so my main comment was I wanted to bring up some of our local politicians, and mine in particular, Vern Buchanan. And while we're talking redistricting, I'm in Waimama, and he's a wealthy Republican out of Sarasota, and yet he is my federal representative, which is, in and of itself questionable, right?
Yeah.
But he is a so-called moderate, and I want to point out he sends out these Insta polls where he's asking his constituents for their opinion on several matters. And the latest ones he's had have had such a spin, and it's subjects like, do you oppose what the liberals are doing to carry on the government shutdown? So he uses very divisive language. He doesn't talk about the Republican side and what they're doing or what they're not doing, which is denying health care benefits. He's basically fueling the fire of inaccuracy. And he one of his more recent ones said that the liberals, and that's his word, he doesn't use Democrats, he used the far left extremist liberals are afraid of their base, and that's why they refuse to vote for the government to reopen.
So those sounds like they were written by the White House.
Well, he cited a source, and I looked it up, and he was lying. What he said was not true. They don't fear their base. Those statements were never made. And once again, so we have someone who's kowtowing to the Almighty in the White House, regardless of what it costs their constituents.
Right. And he calls himself a moderate.
That's my point, yes. And he's lying to his constituents and spinning and reporting inaccuracies, and it doesn't do any good for anyone, either side. And what I find interesting, and what I have called his office many times to remind him, is that on these polls, you can click on the results, and he's got more people voting opposing his side and not agreeing with his spin and his lies, which, makes me feel a little optimistic that maybe we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So I encourage listeners, like, this guy's been around in office way too long. He does not represent us. He does not represent our best interests, and we got to get him out. Him and all those others that are more interested in lying to us than they are in caring about what's happening in our communities and what this government shutdown and all the other things happening in this regime are doing to the people.
Right. And it just goes to show you how, these districts, he doesn't represent your interest in the district. He couldn't possibly.
No, absolutely. He doesn't say anything about that. He's too busy putting a spin on things and pointing fingers instead of providing solutions. Mm-hmm. So, I love your show, Mobili. I will let you go.
All right. Thank you for calling, Vivian. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye now. 813-239-9663. 813-239-9663 is the number to call if you want to join a discussion here on Community Speaks. I'm your host, Patrick Mobili, and we was talking about the politics of food and, of course, open carry in Florida. If you shopping for food at Publix, there's a petition at change.org if you want to weigh in on that. But we have Health and Human Services telling people they can go and eat saturated fat. It's all good. And 813-239-9663 is the number call. They're showing their true colors, the fact that they were unqualified for those cabinet positions. This president was unqualified, and the politics of the day is to cheat and steal and do so not by ballot stuffing or not counting votes, which that's probably happened where certain votes are not counted for technical reasons. Like, I remember I didn't put my ballot inside the sleeve before I sent it back in for the District 5 race. So I'm wondering, did it even get counted? But that's a bunch of ways that you could really lay it on thick if you want to give some kind of change to the election and call it a free and fair elections. Here in Florida, we saw this population shift that all of these Republicans came down here and that were able to elect the governor at a 19-point lead in the state that was very out of the blue. It came out of nowhere, but because of the population shift, that was part of the plan. And these were people who were clearly far-right Republicans that were invited to move down here by various means. But on top of that, let the governor rewrite the district, redraw the district as opposed to the legislature. And on top of that, we had the governor suppressing votes by intimidating people who had done their time, but ex-cons who had already done their time, but cops showing up at their house because they actually went and registered to vote. So all of that was part of the reason why the votes were so skewed, and you can continue to win votes by rigging it in all of those different ways. 813-239-9663. Now you have election deniers from 2020 who have actually gotten power at supervisory elections offices across this country in various states in this country. And so they are now in place to further cause complications on election days. And we're going to see just how much their work pays off for them. But in the meantime, people have to push back. And that's why we continue to talk about these issues. 813-239-9663. It is very important to connect dots. You can write me also, dj@wmnf.org. One emailer has asked, did I see the president on 60 Minutes last night? Gave absolutely no concrete answers. No, I was busy watching football. I knew he was going to be there. I knew he wasn't giving any concrete answers. So I wasn't wasting my time. 813-239-9663. Go to Spring Hill. Let's see what Jennifer has to offer. Jennifer, you're not a fan of the two-party system.
Oh, no, I'm not, Billy, but, I am a fan of WMNF. I've given this station thousands of dollars. I love the idea of being an open source station. I do see you guys skew a lot towards a certain party, but I will say this. Yeah, really, if everyone wants to find out what's going on and why there's problems, go to opensecrets.org. You can look in any candidate, either party, any party, and see the ones that take money and who they take the money from. Although there's the dark money out there. APAC, there's a lot of PACs that are giving dark money. And the thing is, I Demexed it. I never was a Republican, and I Demexed it in 1972 after being one for in 68 and 72. So the thing is, I've seen it get worse and worse. It's always getting worse. Definitely, you can say there's a lesser evil party, but the whole point is we need people that will run for office without taking money, that's why I like the Green Party, but I think there's probably other parties that don't take the money. But, I think libertarians like the money, but it's all the money that they get donated to. It's the military-industrial complex. It's big pharma. It's all these corporations that are getting, their people on the hill to do what they want. And that's why these laws happen. That's why there's so little fighting. They fight Wimpy Lee. And, Obama should have gotten that Supreme Court pick, and he didn't get it. And then, a couple times, Trump got away with getting, instead of getting the one pick, he got three.
And that changed everything,
Yeah, so they'll be bad enough to do this stuff, but you need somebody someone that, does not have any corporate chains to worry about. I can't say this or I can't say that. So, every state has military jobs, and then that's the thing that they go, if you don't vote for us, then, military jobs, you're giving away jobs, to people. And so as long as parties are taking money, we need to get money out of elections, and that'll solve the problem. There'll still be things that'll happen under the table, sure, but it's going to take a lot out. But I've been fighting to get money out of elections, and we used to do a TV show in Tampa on the table with the Green Party. We put it on the table because Obama took single payer off the table. That's how you start your negotiation. You leave it on the table, and then maybe take it off in a tight negotiation. But you don't just start out taking it off the table. So that's why you can see that we need to get when you get a chance to elect someone that has not taken any money from any corporations, be it a Green or whatever. But the reason I can say Greens, I know that's what we do. It's just that's the way we roll. We do not take it.
Yeah.
So, there's other candidates. If you can ever find an independent candidate, then that's who people should vote for. And they should keep voting. They shouldn't give up on voting. I know some people that are they're real anarchists, I guess, or whatever they're going. It doesn't matter if you vote. Well, it does matter, and that's why they spend so much money to try to buy our vote and a lot of money to try to
suppress votes. So, Jennifer, are you still there? Oh, well, I don't know why you got cut off so fast, but I think you were making an excellent point. And, but yeah, the dark money was the response to all of these efforts earlier to get money out of politics. They just gone underground. It went secret. You have these really wealthy folks who will seek out the candidate that they know is going to push their line, like we saw, with this POTUS when he was a candidate. These very strange rich folks would come out demanding that he take their money, and sometimes he just did it under the table anyway, and didn't even use it for electoral purposes. He used it to pay off Stormy Daniels, or he used it to pay off some of his old debts from the lawsuits, the Trump University lawsuit, all of that stuff that he used money that was sent to him by donors for elections and by rich donors for himself. He was self-dealing. This is the first major self-dealing president. Let's go back to Tampa to see what Margaret has to add here on Community Speaks as we get ready to head on out. Thank you for calling, Margaret. You say what?
Hi, this is Margaret.
Margaret.
I missed some of what you were saying about Publix and open carry, and I do shop there pretty often. So would you mind repeating it, please?
Certainly, there's Publix has said that after the country, after the state of Florida has passed open carry, that unlike a lot of stores that say we're going to have signs up to say you can't bring your gun in here, Publix says they're going a different direction. That you can bring your gun, openly carry it while people are shopping here in the store. And so there's a petition at change.org if you want to sign your name to that petition to tell them not to do that. I would go there, change.org.
Change.org. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling, Margaret. 813-239-9228. 9663. Got about 10 minutes left, and I want to hear from you. So give me a call. You can also write me, DJ, at WMNF.org. And let's see what Ada has to say in Tampa. Thank you for calling.
How are you? Good afternoon. Yes, I'm calling because even if as I speak to you, I'm very emotional about what I'm about to say. Because I was one of the people that voted for him, for Trump, and I was so proud, and I was flying the flag in East Tampa. I felt that the people that were coming in illegally and were getting food stamps and were getting cash, while our veterans were going through it, and some of my friends could not even get on Medicare, just because they made an extra $100. Hello.
Yes.
And that hurt me. It hurt me to the point where some people actually, and I know this firsthand, have to receive medication from other people in the family to provide medication to sustain these people medically, because our money is not being used properly for the people that have shed the blood, people that never came back, and all the illegal ones were at times, because Biden, when he was president, was doing all this. So I said, well, Trump is going to do a great thing, and la, 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 and I'm flying his flag in the community, and at the time, the only one on the street, and because of ethnicity, I said, well, he's going to make it better. I had no idea. I had no idea. And it hurt so much that I see families that have to pull together. Some of them would have to stop taking certain medications just so the other family members can go on living, because they don't qualify because of an extra $100. That's what upset me. I don't want the flag on my porch any longer. I think it's wrong. There are other religious things that I could say, but I don't want to stir anything up. But I, in a way, I pray. I am so ashamed of myself to even vote for this man, to be honest, because our veterans are hurting.
Yeah.
Our veterans are hurting all across the board. I see people that can't work, not getting their food stamps. The children are asking whether they're going to have toys for Christmas.
Right.
Our food pantry is running out.
Right.
It is just so sad that they're doing this to the ones that have no say so. They don't even have a voice. What have these American children done? What about our farm workers?
Right.
I thought it was going to be better. What about them? Can you imagine that the farmers have to go on food stamps if it ever comes up again? That they have to go to a pantry themselves? That
contradiction. Yeah.
So that's my pain. It's a pain. It really is. And the evangelicals, because I'm evangelical, I feel like, wow, the Bible does talk about it, and I know that a lot of things have nothing to do with the president. There's things that he can really do, because I also understand who's behind, or who are the people behind this, So that's my pain. I say it's pain for me to stop taking certain medications just so a family member who comes from a line of 6 generations in the Marines.
Right, and you've seen this develop since January because that's how short a time it's taken for this agenda to reveal itself. And you've already got voters' remorse from what you see coming out of this regime. So, the bright spot is a lot of people are waking up. And so there's going to be another opportunity to fix things. So I wouldn't beat myself up over the choice you made because they propagandized you to death. But thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. 813. I do have a few more minutes to go, so we got a lot of calls to get through. Let me see if I can get through them as quickly as possible. Eduardo from Tampa, thank you for calling. You say what?
Yeah, I got an interesting story. I was telling your screener. New Mexico's thinking about doing free childcare. Did you see that story?
Mexico? I'm not surprised. I didn't see the story, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's out there, yeah.
Yeah, I'll look for that.
So it'll be interesting. Some people say, well, hey, if your budget is in line, because some people, like my state of Illinois, they're in budget, super deficits. But New Mexico, I think, is pretty okay on the budget. So, we'll see how that goes. But they're going to get 5,000. They need 5,000 educators, is what they're saying. So it's a pilot program. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'd be interested in talking more about that, Eduardo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Let's see what Donald. This isn't the Donald that we have been talking about. This is Donald from New Tampa. Thank you for calling, Donald.
How you doing, Mobili? Good show. Listen, a lot of this stuff is not going to change until we have to do 2 things. We must put back Citizens United, and we must have term limits. Until these 2 things are changed, we're just going to go through the same carousel.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
All right. And thank you for saying that because I was going to mention Citizens United, Donald. Thank you for saying that.
All right.
It's you can also write me, 813. Actually, we're running out of time, but I do want to let you know that you can still write DJ at WNF.org, and I'll still get it, and we can read it in the coming weeks. But I do want to thank you all for joining me. Of course, next hour, we're going to get back to the music. But first, we're going to get some news update from the Scoop, locally produced news right here at WMNF by our illustrious news people in the newsroom. And so we're going to get on out so that we can hear that. But news update from the Scoop. But of course, we're going to get back to the music. This has been Community Speaks. We've been talking a lot about food and, of course, money and politics. And we're going to pick up on these issues again, of course. But right now, I'm going to get on out and make room for Blaney Whalen, who's going to get back to the music with It's the Music Monday after we get more news from the Scoop. Thank you for joining me. My name is Patrick Mobili, your host for Community Speaks. I'll see you on Sunday before I see you next week. Thank you for joining me here on WMNF Tampa.
Reset world citizenship, the rule of international morality. The sun we share, the rain we share, the love we must share in reality. Oh, humanity. One passport for us all. Oh, one and one for all. One passport for us all. Oh, one and one for all.
The Tampa Bay Area is home to some of the best record stores in Florida. On November 8th, a new one will open its doors for one day only. The WMNF Record and CD Sale, Saturday, November 8th from 11 to 4 at the WMNF Studios. Thousands of records and CDs from every genre, all in great condition and priced to move. Art made from records will also be on display and available for purchase. Be a part of it all. Mix, mingle, and shop with your community at the WMNF Record Sale, Saturday, November 8th